Hello. There's like an extra hiss in the background. I think my mic was too high. I'm picking up basement noises. I think we're good now. I think we're fine. Hello. What's up, y'all? It is Riter Radio episode 254, it says on my sheet. And I've got a new ritual. I was saving every sheet. And then it's like, why do I need 240 pieces of paper? The reason was I was taking it because any of the songs that I was playing, I was tracking all the songs I was playing, and then I was putting them on the playlist. There's a Riter Radio, the playlist thing on Spotify. That's all the songs that I play on the show, or most of the songs that I play on the show. And I was tracking them, and then I got caught up on that. And I was like, I don't need these things anymore. I don't need to know that Bob Gone was on episode 124 or whatever. Like, I don't need that. So they've been going in the garbage. And when I've got the sheet, and as soon as the show ends now, I get rid of the sheet and I start the new one. And that way from noon or whenever the show ends until 10 a.m., any thought that I have, like, oh, that's for the show, I just will write it down on the sheet. I didn't write on the sheet the number. And then I just took a guess. It's a Thursday, so it's a 4 or an 8. Or a 4 or a 9, I should say. I think that's right. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure this is episode 254 of Riter Radio. John Fuller is going to join me at 11-ish. And I thought about, again, I keep wanting to do this and things keep getting in the way, airing the conversation I had with Nick Bakay because I don't think anybody heard it. And it's awesome because I did it Thursday night, last Thursday. It's a week old now. So the Bills don't have a coach in our conversation, but we don't spend that much time on it. It was recorded last Thursday night. It aired in theory as the end of the Friday show. And then I left to go get my haircut at Buffalo Trim. They did this. Look at me. Look at my face. Isn't that pretty? Relatively speaking, like compared to before, they made me pretty. But I was on my way there when I found out that I never hit go live on the show on last Friday. So that show, there was nothing on Friday. Maybe tomorrow makes sense. It's a Friday show. Maybe I'll put it there. Anyway, I was thinking of airing that again today. I was going to do it the other day, and then the Bills announced Joe Brady was their head coach, so we didn't do it and stayed on for half an hour longer and talked about that. My thought was to do it the second half of the show, but then Fuller's going to be on. And then I thought of doing it in the first half of today's show, but I don't want to just open with something that's recorded because that's not live. That's not Riter Radio. That's not what I do. The thing is, at 10 o'clock-ish every day, you tune in, and then there's something new and live and fun. And you can tell when it's live, I think. And I wanted today to be live. Today's live. There is some debate regarding the Super Bowl in the chat right now. It started with someone saying Seattle's going to blow out the Patriots. Then someone else said, no, that won't happen because the Patriots have the better head coach. Probably. Quarterback, I don't know about that. An offensive coordinator, I don't know. Say what you want about McDaniels. I've never been able to attach myself to him as like a legitimate human being. It doesn't mean I'm right. I don't even judge him in like a how's your football mind way. I just can't stand him. So it's like I can't do anything reasonable or rational in a conversation about the qualities of that guy compared to other people. So I gotta sit this one out. But I will say, yeah, I mean, I'm still not 100% certain the name of the Seattle head coach because I don't have room in my life for Mike McDaniel and Mike McDonald and Josh McDaniels. I can't it's not in my life, my brain. It just doesn't. So I don't know anything about him. He's just one of those guys. It got that way for me when this is gonna sound terrible. It's true though. With Major League Baseball, when I stopped like really paying attention to Major League Baseball, and then it just seemed to me that every player's name was Julio Gonzalez, and then it was Antonio Ramirez, and it's not like I just don't know. It all sounds the same to me. McDaniel, McDavid, McDuffie, I don't know. So I get lost on all that, and that's it's kind of my old brain. But I don't have time to try to sort through those things. So I'm not going to know for sure. I have to really think hard when I talk about the name of the former Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel, because I've been familiar with Josh McDaniels forever. And I don't like some of you are plural, some of you are not. No knock on you, Ray Walter. Just Walter, not Walters, but there are people named Walters. I happen to know Ray for 30 years. I happen to know his non-related brother, Matt. I know two Marks. I know Ray Walter. I know two separate Mark Walters. I know Matt Walter. I actually don't know anybody last name Walters. But that's not the point. I know people slip up. Ray's in the chat. This happens to you, right, Ray? People call you Ray Walters. You've been getting that in the same way that I've been getting Ritter on my last name for my entire life. You get that. So anyway, I don't have an opinion on the Seattle head coach. I have no idea. I know he's been there for 2 years. They've won 14 games this year. I know that Darnold looks like a real quarterback. I know that Darnold was taken ahead of Josh Allen and is now in the Super Bowl ahead of Josh Allen. So I don't know. I think Drake May, something's coming there with Drake May. But conversation about him as an MVP right now seems crazy to me. I've seen him throw 6 good passes. I've watched a lot of their games. I've seen him look like a second-year quarterback quite a bit, too. I think there's something there. The fact that he's in the Super Bowl right now gives Patriots fans this, sort of the hammer in talking about how great their guy is. But the reality is, 2 weeks from now, he'll just be a guy who went to the Super Bowl and lost a game, and then that juice kind of goes away, right? I mean, Burrow's been living off of it, but Burrow has been ridiculously impressive for several years in regular season NFL play. I have not seen that yet out of Drake May. So to assume, I don't know, him being in the MVP conversation right now is baffling to me. Yeah, I get it. You're surprised the Patriots won as many games as they did. But I don't know, man. Hasn't been like a dominant player. And it's not even a knock on him. It's just like you looked around the whole league and you wanted to know who the most valuable player is, and he's in the conversation, and that's crazy. Like Daniel Jones is in the conversation to me more this year than really anybody on the list. That'd be my pick. He lasted half a year, but they were awesome when he was there, and they were terrible afterward. That's an MVP to me. It's not how they decide the award. I'm not a voter. Whatever. All right. Once when I was at an event with former Hamburg supervisor Steve Walters, I was introduced as Ray Walters, and he was introduced as Steve Walter. Yeah, right? So you get what I'm saying here, right, Ray? I corrected my dad. I was talking to my dad last night. We had a couple of chorus concerts to attend. And my dad was there, and he said something about Ray calling into the show yesterday. And he said, Ray Walters' call was really good. And I kind of misheard him. And I said, yeah, Ray's awesome. He's the best. He was at the show, whatever. And I said, but just so you know, not that it'll ever come up. You'll never have to deal with it. But he's Walter, not Walters. And he's like, I know. That's what I said. And it turns out he had said Ray Walters' call. It was the possessive version of his name. But I had to correct him. And I was not even correct on correcting him. But, that's life. John Fuller joining me at 11 o'clock. This is a long way of me saying I'm not playing the Nick Bakay conversation, even though I want to, because I want everybody to hear it. It's available on YouTube, but I feel like the live, if it's not a part of the live show, it doesn't count. So now I feel like I did this interview/conversation. I don't really call them interviews, but this conversation with Nick Bakay, and nobody's hearing it. So I'm going to put it on the show. Let's plan on tomorrow. Maybe that'll be the first half. That'd make a very easy Friday. If the first part of tomorrow's show, I'll come on, I'll say hello, then I'll hit play. We'll start on time. How about that? We'll start with talking at 10. There's always something at 10. But usually I don't start talking until 10 after or something like that. Tomorrow we'll do it quicker. I'll start talking at 10. This is theoretical, but this is the plan. Thinking out loud. I'll get out the sheet right now. That's what we're doing. All right, so that's tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be Nick Bakay right off the bat. Me first, quick, for 5 minutes. I'll do 5 minutes of Brad, then Nick Bakay with Brad, and then Scott Wilson with me again, too. All right, episode 255 is tomorrow. I got to print more sheets. It'll be the 30th. 1, 30, 26, 11 o'clock, Scott Wilson, 10:05, Nick Bakay. Nick Bakay, 10:05. We'll see how close we come to that actual math, but at least now it's on paper, and there's a plan. No comments. Okay, there it is. I was going to say, no comments on the background today, but we've got one. AC Man, Brad, Michael, Scott, Riter. I love that. I don't know. It seemed fun. I've got a few different backgrounds. I like the wood wall as like the standard one, but for episode 250, I did the big like fireworky thing. And today I felt very, I felt office-y today. I had to once again change my shirt 5 minutes before the show because I put on a shirt for yesterday's show and then just wore it, slept in it. I'm one day dirtier right now than I was yesterday, but it's all right. What do you care? Why does that matter to you? It doesn't and it shouldn't. All right, stuff that's on my screen. Time to talk about stuff that's on my screen right now. Not your screen, not the Michael Scott office background. Am I going to stay live streaming through the press conference? I don't see a reason to stay live streaming through the press conference. It's a good question. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. So today is the day that at noon, Joe Brady is scheduled to meet the media and be officially introduced as the head coach as opposed to just the offensive coordinator of the Bills. Last week when Terry Pagula and Brandon Beane were meeting with the media, it happened, or I say last week. That was this week, right? Was it Monday? Tuesday? I don't know. I've lost track of time. Whenever that was, it was a 10 a.m. news conference. So the choice was, do I talk to nobody as everybody's paying attention to that, or do I just air it and hang out in the corner and crack wise when necessary? And I chose that one because, really, I wanted to watch and hear the news conference, and it happened during the show, so why not just put it on the show? You're allowed to do that. And that made sense. Today, my show is planned to go until noon. I think today what I should do is just end the show at noon. And then everybody else, I'll watch it, and you can watch it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Right? This is less controversial. I don't imagine this one will be, confrontational in the same way. You're not going, what the hell's going on? They're announcing who they hired. They're not announcing why they fired someone and what their plan is. That was more interesting and took place at 10 a.m. So it is not my intention to stay on for a news conference. Because honestly, if I stay on for it, I'm going to let the thing run, then it's going to end, and then I'm going to want to talk about it. But in reality, we can just watch it separately or listen to it separately or get the highlights or whatever you want to do and then talk about it tomorrow. Because I'm going to write that down too because I don't know how that's fitting into the 5 minutes. It's going to mess up my Bakay plan. I also don't think anything's happening today. I don't think there's going to be anything coming out of today where it's like, oh my God, we need to talk about it. Right? It's just going to be, yeah, I'm here. I'm excited. I'm excited for this opportunity. I don't remember a first press conference that meant something. Aside Rex Ryan. You have to hire Rex Ryan for your introductory press conference to be interesting. Is this thing on? Well, it's about to be. Shut up. Right? That was so stupid. It was fun, though. It was fun. All right. I got to write this down. Now it says Nick Bakay or Joe Brady intro. Okay. Look at this. We're multitasking. We're doing a show. Today's show is me preparing for tomorrow's show. Meta. Whatever that means. All right. Somebody put together a thing about who the Bills have lost and who is expected to come in. Ryan Talbot, who I know not so much from his writing, but from his podcast work with friend of the show, Matt Perino, who hasn't been on in a while. We should get Perino on. Today's not the day, but we'll get him soon. Love Perino. All right, Brady was named head coach Tuesday. That doesn't mean the team's former offensive coordinator is keeping the coaching staff the same. In fact, many coaches have already departed. I will confess, I was talking to somebody, might have been Bob, might have been Paul Peck, and I thought of interrupting to go, wait, is Bobby Babich gone? And yes, he is. I didn't know that. I never heard official word, but it's been mentioned a couple times on this show, not by me, and then I never followed up. Even though I was thinking about it, it was like, Paul or Bob said it and then kept talking for another 2 minutes, and then I saw something else shiny and talked about that. But it was in my head like, wait, is Babich officially gone? He is. So they'll get a new defensive coordinator. There are candidates listed here. We're going to walk through this together. All right. Who's in? Brady. That's it. Who's out? Bobby Babich, defensive coordinator of the past 2 seasons, is out. This was expected as the team's defensive letdowns played a big part in the team moving on from McDermott. That does make sense. It made sense the whole time. I just hadn't heard it officially. Now that I see it in writing, I fully believe it. I wanted to interrupt, whether it was Bob or Paul, to say, wait, is that real or are you speculating? And I just never got to it. But seeing it in writing, okay, so he's gone. Also gone, Adam Henry, wide receivers coach, has found employment elsewhere. He took a lateral job with the Steelers. He'll serve in the same role, wide receivers coach for Pittsburgh. It says Babich was announced on Wednesday as the defensive pass game coordinator and secondary coach for the Green Bay Packers. I am confused a bit by this pass game coordinator thing. Like, it seems to me that if I were operating a team, I would want an offensive coordinator, and I would want that offensive coordinator to be involved in both running and passing the ball, since those are the 2 ways to move forward from the line of scrimmage. And I wouldn't want 2 separate people dealing with those things. I get the positional coach part of it, because there are nuances that need to, and technique and that kind of stuff that need to be, specific to a position. But a passing game coordinator doesn't make sense to me. And now this is a defensive passing game coordinator, which makes less sense to me than the other one. So let's say we have a passing game coordinator and a running game coordinator and a defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, we're overcomplicating it by explaining how crazy this one is. Let's put it on the offensive side of the ball. You've got your OC, you've got a passing game coordinator, and a running game coordinator. Rushing, running, whatever you would call it. If you've got those 3 things, who are you listening to when it's time to run a play? It's going to be the OC, right? So what are these 2 guys? I mean, okay, it's 4th and 1, but 4th and 1 goes to the head coach, right? That's his decision to make. In what world are you turning to a running game coordinator? It sounds like football's been doing this for a long time. Football invents terminology to make it seem like the average fan doesn't know what's going on. We can't possibly comprehend what's happening in that sport because of the jargon. And you add that stuff in, and it gets stupider. And now, I mean, really, Bobby Babich, what are you in charge of? Stopping the pass. What happens if they run? I'm off. Right? I'm off. If they hand the ball off, Bobby Babich has no responsibility. In theory. I'm sure there's something else. I'm sure it makes sense in the ridiculous world of football with 30 coaches on your staff. Sure. Just doesn't make sense. All right. Adam Henry, wide receivers coach to the Steelers. Chris Tabor, Bills special teams coordinator in 2025, was hired by the Dolphins right after McDermott was dismissed as head coach. He has a history of success coaching special teams and did a great job of coaching Ray Davis into an all-pro as a returner last year. All right. I think the move on special teams that propelled Ray Davis to excellence until the playoff fumble. The move was, and this is kind of what everybody in the league has been dealing with the new kickoff rule, is like figuring out a new system, and they figured something out that's instead of having two return men back there, let's have a return man and a fullback. And putting the fullback, Gilliam. I almost reverted to Damian Shelton. How long ago was that Damian Shelton was the fullback? 15 years? Jesus. But having Gilliam back there as a fullback and essentially turning every kick return into a running play with a lead blocker was a good move and seems very copyable by others in the league. If you got a fullback on your roster, the Bills, feature one, and not everyone does. But having a guy specifically designed as the lead blocker and turning it all into an open field running play once he gets the ball, I think was very successful. But, is that he was great? Oh, no. How are they going to do that again? Just do the same thing. Just do what he did. I don't know. All right, what's next? Oh, I'm sorry. And Aaron Kromer retired. Shortly after the Bills were eliminated from the playoffs, it was announced that Kromer was retiring. This is a massive blow for the Bills, and whoever is hired to replace Kromer will have big shoes to fill. This article then goes on to list candidates to fill these positions, and I think that's the most fun one. I'm going to jump to it right away. Where is it? Just Because. It starts with Just Because. And it's here somewhere, but I don't see it. And Kromer. Keep going. I feel like the article's... Oh, there we go. Offensive line coach candidate to watch. Aaron Kromer may have retired. That doesn't mean the Bills can't have a Kromer coaching the O-line in 2026. Zach Kromer is currently the assistant offensive line coach of the Rams. He's been interviewed in the past for offensive line jobs and is one of the more attractive options available at this time. All right, what else do they have on here? Offensive coordinator. DJ Mangus. Mangus was an offensive aide for the Bills last season, the last couple of years, actually. But knows Brady as well as anyone on the coaching staff. Mangus and Brady spent time together at William and Mary at the collegiate ranks and were together on the Saints and Panthers staffs before coming to Buffalo. DJ also was on the staff at UB, and it felt like 10 seconds after, what's his name? Clipboard throwing quarterback, Miami. Ken Dorsey. After Ken Dorsey was relieved of his duties as offensive coordinator mid-season, I think that's the last we saw of DJ Mangus at UB, because obviously with that guy out and Brady being promoted on an interim basis, that created a space, and he called his friend that he's been everywhere with. There's no mention there about LSU, but they were together there as well. So that doesn't sound crazy to me. I've met DJ. I know his brother, Robbie, better. But he's been around, and I've never spoken to him. I see him every week watching Bills games. He's standing there with a clipboard, silently standing in the back, writing stuff down. I don't know what he does. I don't have a strong opinion on him. No part of me has ever been like, what they need is DJ Mangus to be the offensive coordinator. But if that's Brady's guy and they're in lockstep, then I guess I approve. But I guess the consensus opinion that I'm getting out of Bills fans is that hiring Joe Brady is a boring move. Like it's kind of lame. And I don't feel that way. I feel like this is fine. I don't need a massive overhaul to this Bills coaching staff. I agree with what Terry Pagula said. I don't even know that it's what he believed. But I believe in the concept of how do we just roll this same thing into next year and pretend it's going to be different? Like, we're getting a little antsy here. We're going to do something different. I get that. But it doesn't have to be massive, and it's not. You subtracted out the head coach. Could be a disaster. He could be the thing holding it all together. We'll find out. But it was time to try something. I'm not even going to debate that. Like, yeah, okay. This keeps happening. Should have had 3 Super Bowls by now in the last 7 years, and you haven't been to one. So, okay, let's try something different. It might absolutely explode in their faces, but how long are you just going to sit and go, it's coming, just wait. Like, they're there. They just haven't been there. So I get that change, and I get it being a subtle change. The way that other people are really bored by Brady becoming head coach would be me being bored by DJ Mangus becoming offensive coordinator. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying there's nothing about it that gets me like, oh, all right, new sheriff in town. Things are going to change around here. There's nothing like that. But he's been around for a couple of years. He's been with Brady forever. He's been around Josh for a couple of years. I would think who are your coordinators is part of the conversation you have when you're picking a head coach, unless this was all preordained, which I don't think it was. So it makes sense to me that would happen. But I'm bored with it already. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm already bored with it. That's, doesn't mean it's wrong. Other candidates for that position include Pete Carmichael Jr. He took Brady under his wing in New Orleans. He learned plenty from the veteran coach before departing to LSU. Carmichael Jr. is currently on the Broncos coaching staff as a senior offensive assistant coach. Senior offensive assistant coach. That sounds like we don't have a job for you, but we like you enough that we want you here. Okay. Joe Lombardi. Good name. Good last name. Was just fired by the Broncos. Brady could look to reunite with Lombardi. The two worked together in New Orleans. Lombardi had high praise for Brady in their past stint. He said, work ethic and intelligence are always two qualities you look for in people. Someone who's got the ability to do a job and someone you know is going to work very hard at it. Those things really do stand out. I'm not surprised at all with the success he's had. Regardless of who's hired for the role, Brady will reportedly call the offensive plays in 2026. So that sounds like Mangus to me, if that is the plan. And I've heard, that's another one of these things that I've heard but haven't seen in print or haven't heard from official. It's just like, oh, well, Brady's going to call the plays. And now I'm reading it and writing, and it's like, okay. I thought that would be something that would come up today in the news conference at noon. Defensive coordinator options. Got some things we like here. Jim Leonard was linked to the Bills as the top candidate for the defensive coordinator job after Brady was hired. The Bills, however, will have competition for his services, as the Chargers have also requested to interview Leonard for his defensive coordinator job. The Bills drafted him as a player. Don't they get his rights as a coach, too? No? That's not how it works? All right. In 2025, Leonard served as the Broncos' defensive pass game coordinator and assistant head coach. Leonard coached at Wisconsin before joining the NFL coaching ranks, played multiple seasons in the NFL, including a stint with the Bills. He became a star after playing for the Bills. I met him once. I had him on. So I'm doing a show at Dave & Buster's, okay? Dave & Buster's still existed at the Eastern Hills Mall, and it's me and Lee Evans. Wide receiver, obviously, first-round pick, 2004, same year as Losman was drafted. They picked Evans because they couldn't get Roethlisberger. Then they traded back into the first round with Dallas and took J.P. Losman and set the franchise back by years. It was early drought era. I know many of you are younger. Many of the people that listen to this show or watch this show are like almost a generation younger, if you will. And everything you think about how the E.J. Manuel era went, the Losman era was grosser because we were still close to when the team was good. So I was like, all right, here we go. First round pick. This will be fine. And it just was not fine. And then there's the Trent Edwards part of it. And then there's the Fitz part of it. And it just, that bleeds into Manuel and everything that happened prior to prior to Josh Allen's arrival and like correcting the sins of 16 years of Bills football. Anyway, I was doing radio shows at the time with Lee Evans. And Lee, I did a weekly show with Lee. And I don't know if it was always at Dave & Buster's. I don't think it was always there. I feel like we did it in other places too. But he was really cool. He would invite teammates to come in. So like he had a contract to be on a weekly, but he would also recruit other dudes to come out and just show up. So let's say I did a show with Lee from 7 to 8. At like 7:25, someone else would walk through the door. And Lee played at Wisconsin, and Jim Leonard played at Wisconsin. Jim Leonard was a rookie, so I could look that up and find out when this actually was. Probably almost pinpoint an actual date. Not that you need it, but I'm going to, real quick, look up Jim Leonard. Jim Leonhard. There he is. Reference. So Jim Leonard was a rookie in, I'm going to say probably 2006 is my guess. 2005. All right, so Evans is a rookie in 04. I'm doing a show with him in 05, and they've got this new rookie on the team, also from Wisconsin. And so he invited Jim Leonard to come to the show and be a part of the show. And he told me he was coming, and I knew who he was, but I was not in any way prepared to see how tiny and young looking Jim Leonard was walking in. That is, when I think of Jim Leonard, that's why I'm telling this story. I think of him, all I think of is the time he walked into Dave & Buster's and I thought he was there to play video games or whack-a-mole or whatever else kids do when they're at Dave & Buster's. Adults go there for giant beer and I don't know, noises. I used to go for that Derby Owners Club, the horse racing game, which was awesome. I don't know if it still exists, but it was great. Leonard looked like a little kid. Now, this is 22 years ago, so he's probably aged a little. But dude is he's listed on here, 5'8", 188 pounds. And he looked like a baby. Well, he looked like a JV basketball player. I mean, he clearly looked like an athlete. He looked like a wrestler. He looked like a little wrestler, tiny, young, little high school wrestler. But he was a defensive back for the Bills at the time. All right, that was a digression. I apologize for that, but that's what you get when you sign up for Riter Radio. You're here. This is what's going to happen to you. All right. Jim Leonard is an option. Jim Schwartz is an option. Former Bills defensive coordinator. He was here for, I think, just 1 year. And I think he was here right before Rex Ryan. Like, Rex came in, and he's like, bye. Or Rex was like, bye. Either way, but I've always liked him. He's very popular in my house. My wife is in love with Jim Schwartz for some reason. She's like, they got to get Jim Schwartz back. They've been terrible since they had Jim Schwartz. I'm like, what are you talking about? But she would like that hire. And happy wife, happy life, right? Yeah, sure. That'd be fine. Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator. He was in play to be the next head coach of the Browns. Instead, the Browns opted to go with Todd Monken. Schwartz reportedly wants out of Cleveland following the news, but he's still under contract with the Browns. If Cleveland lets him go, don't be surprised if the Bills pounce. All right. I mean, if you want out, you get out, right? They can't just make you be a defensive coordinator for a team you don't want to be a defensive coordinator for, can they? I think you get to leave. Circumstances changed. Anthony Weaver also listed. Buffalo interviewed Weaver for the head coach job before choosing Joe Brady. He was a Dolphins defensive coordinator the past 2 seasons and spent 3 years with the Ravens. Before that, as a defensive line coach, run game coordinator, and assistant head coach. Buffalo could have competition for Weaver. He's expected to be pursued by the Giants, where he would reunite with John Harbaugh. Also listed here is Raheem Morris. If Morris is looking for work in 2026, the Bills should look at the veteran coach. Morris was fired as the Falcons head coach at the end of the season, but his resume as a defensive mind speaks for itself. So those are the people listed as defensive coordinator candidates. I don't know if we're going to learn anything today from the Joe Brady news conference that happens at noon with regard to coordinators. I can't imagine actual names come out of his mouth unless somebody's been hired. But I don't think you'll hear about candidates for those positions in the news conference today. Just guessing, just speculating, not positive. I already read this about the O-line coach to watch, which is Zach Cromer, son of Aaron. You guys remember the Aaron Cromer story when he was on the Bills staff the first time, where he was on a beach and like threatened or beat up children? I feel like that was a crazy story, and then it just went away. And now it's like, oh, they're really going to miss this guy. But there's a whole story about him just like fighting teenagers or something. Am I the only one who remembers this? Let's see. Aaron Cromer assault. Let's try that. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Florida Times-Union. This is from 2015. So this is 11 years ago. But I feel like this didn't come up at all in his second stint with the Bills. I'm not giving you $1 for the first month. I'm not going to read the Jacksonville Times or whatever the hell this is. The Florida Times-Union. I just want one story. Leave me alone. All right, July 12th. Dateline, July 12th, 2015. No, I'm going to do that. This is breaking news from 11 years ago. Dateline, Defuniak Springs, Florida. Bills offensive line coach Aaron Cromer was arrested Sunday in Florida after shoving a boy to the ground and punching him. This all just went away. I'm sure he dealt with it, but like this happened. He was on the Bills staff. Like, we can't have our O-line coach beating up children on the beach. And then, so then they didn't. And then they just did again. And now he's retiring. It's like a major loss. I'm like, I don't know. Every time I hear the guy's name, I think of him punching a kid on the beach. Here's the story. The Walton County Sheriff's Office said the dispute arose after Cromer and his son. See, that's the thing, too. And that's what brings it up. Is his son, Zach? Is that who we're talking about? Was his son also involved in beating up a kid on the beach? And they'll be the new O-line coach? I mean, I don't care. It's fine. But it's funny. The Walton County Sheriff's Office said the dispute arose after Cromer and his son confronted three boys about their use of beach chairs while fishing near their home. In a statement, the Sheriff's Office said Cromer grabbed the boy's fishing pole and threw it in the water before assaulting one boy. The victim stated Cromer also told him if he reported him to the police that he would kill his family, the Sheriff's Office said. Cromer, 48 at the time, was taken into custody just about 2 a.m. Sunday. Released on bond about an hour later, jail records show. He's charged with battery that caused bodily harm, but the Sheriff's Office said it was still investigating and additional charges are possible. The Sheriff's Office did not release the names or ages of the boys who were involved in the incident. In a written statement, the Bills said, "We are aware of the report and in the process of gathering facts." Cromer joined the team in January after being fired from the Bears. We don't know why. Was he beating up children in Illinois too? Unsure. So I just want to know if that was his son, Zach. You know, they're not going to publish that. I don't think that's findable. But might the Bills have consecutive O-line coaches that are A, related, and B, were both involved in assaulting three kids over beach chairs and fishing poles and arrested at 2 a.m? It's a good story. I apologize. Somebody said, I thought there was actual breaking news. There was. It just happened 11 years ago. It broke then. Broken news. Already broken news. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has released an official statement regarding the Bill Belichick isn't getting in on the first ballot news. This is kind of breaking from tradition, right? The league doesn't typically do something like this. It's not even the NFL Hall of Fame. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So they don't really have a requirement to speak about a report that gets out that Belichick's not getting in, because the full announcement hasn't been made of who is in. It's just that he's not. But there is an official statement released last night at 6:39 p.m. Football Hall of Fame. Oh, it's the Football Hall of Fame. It's not the NFL. Okay, good. Pro Football Hall of Fame released a statement Wednesday following a Tuesday report that six-time Pro Bowl or Super Bowl winning head coach Bill Belichick was not voted into the class of 2026 in his first year of eligibility. Per the statement, if it is determined voting members, quote, violated the selection process bylaws, that, quote, action will be taken, including removal as a member of the selection committee. ESPN reported Tuesday that Belichick did not receive the necessary 40 votes from the 50-person panel, news that prompted swift and robust criticism throughout the sport. The Hall of Fame statement did not mention Belichick by name, instead referring to media reports related to its class of 2026. Hall of Fame is all class. I get it. Tacky yellow sport coats, but other than that, all class. I'm not drinking mud. This is iced tea. Usually I drink water, but this is, I went with iced tea today. I drink a lot of iced tea. I bet I drink more iced tea than anyone in America. If Scott Wilson is listening, this is not me claiming that I can take on some sort of an iced tea challenge. I'm just saying that I choose iced tea almost always. I probably drink more water than anything, and then in second place would be iced tea, unsweetened iced tea. I get the tea. I have to actually go to the store. I'm out of tea bags. I make my own. Not make my own, but, you know, I use, like, iced tea making bags. I've got a pitcher that I keep in the fridge down here. And, oh, it's right here. Look at this. It's stained brown because it's always iced tea. But it holds the tea bags right there. I put 3 of these in there. This black tea from Wegmans. Put 3 of those in there. Let it sit overnight. It comes out delicious. There's not much left. But there's none left. It's all in here. But I'm out of tea bags. So I got to go to the tea bag store, also known as Wegmans. All right. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, this is in quotes. So this is from the hall itself, which is a phrase that's going to be in this next sentence. Weird. The Pro Football Hall of Fame understands and respects the passionate reaction of many fans, media members, and enshrinees of the hall itself in light of published reports regarding the voting results for the class of 2026. It's that very passion that propels the game. The hall also respects the members of the selection committee when they follow the selection process bylaws. It is an honor to serve as a selector. Each year, the hall reviews the selection process and the composition of the 50-person selection committee. If it is determined that any members violated the selection process bylaws, they understand action will be taken. That could include the possibility that such selectors would not remain a member of the committee moving forward. The selection of a new class is the most important duty the Hall of Fame oversees each year, and the integrity of that process cannot be in question. ESPN, citing several sources who spoke with the coach this past weekend, reported that Belichick was puzzled and disappointed by the result of the vote. The report of Belichick's snub was met with significant criticism, including from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who posted Tuesday on social media, "Insane, don't even understand how this could be possible." The public outcry continued to grow on Wednesday with former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, not to be confused with new Bills head coach Joe Brady. That's been on my mind for a while. How long is it going to take for us to see the name Brady with no first name attached to it and think of Joe before we think of Tom? Like, I last night ran into a friend of mine, and I said, "What do you think of the Brady thing?" And it felt wrong coming out of my mouth because Brady has meant something for 25 years to everyone in America. And now we're saying Brady without a first name, and we mean a different guy, and I think we're going to have to come up with a system or an answer for all of this. I don't know how we're going to do it. We can just say McDermott, and we knew what we meant. You say Bean, we're good. We're not talking about Billy Bean. We're in Buffalo. It's 2026. We mean Brandon. Joe Brady has suddenly become far more relevant to our lives than Tom Brady. If you're a Bills fan. If you're not, you're just thinking football, Brady still means Tom. But in Buffalo, Brady means Joe now. But this is the first time to see a quote from Tom Brady, and he's just called Brady, and I thought of Joe Brady. All right. Public outcry continued with Tom Brady and Robert Kraft voicing their displeasure. See, Kraft can mean the Patriots or mac and cheese. All right, that one's stupid. I went beyond. That's nonsensical. All right. Brady says, I just think that to me, I don't understand it. I mean, I was with him every day. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there's really no coach that should ever be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is completely ridiculous because people deserve it. He's incredible. There's no coach I'd rather play for. If I'm picking one coach to go out there to win a Super Bowl, give me one season, I'm taking Bill Belichick. Robert Kraft says Belichick unequivocally deserves to be a unanimous first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. Kraft is a contributor finalist for this year's Hall of Fame class. Belichick was hired by New England in 2000. We don't have to do that. We know what he did. He did a bunch of stuff. His career did have blemishes, implicated in a sign-stealing scandal dubbed Spygate in 2007, was fined $500,000 after the team was caught filming defensive signals from the Jets during a game. His tenure in New England ended following the 2023 season. He just finished his first year coaching in college at North Carolina, where they won the national championship. No, I'm just kidding. They didn't. It's been a disaster. Okay. We're good with that. There's a bunch of stuff here in the chat. McDermott should have cheated is a funny comment from Bill. There's too much going on here. I can't. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll talk to John Fuller. All right, quick break. I don't have the regular music lined up. Let's do that. What do you want to hear? I'm taking a request. First one to put a request in gets it. We're not playing Friday by Carly Rae Jepsen. You have 5 seconds to make a request. 4, 3, 2, 1. The feed is probably like 10 seconds behind or something, so it's not really fair what I just did to you. Sorry. Timeout. We'll be right back. John Fuller joins me next. It's Riter Radio, episode 254.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior Philly correspondent, John Fuller.
Here he comes. It's John Fuller, made famous by closing out the first ever edition of Brain Vault live at the Caz on Tuesday night. He was called to the stage, pulled from the bucket. It was exciting. It was very exciting. Of the 4 people that came on stage, I knew 2 of them that were drawn randomly. John was one of them, and he did well. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. I'm still a little disappointed. I only got 3 of the 5 questions.
Yeah, you did well, though. You gave a good answer to one of with Stevie Wonder, you guessed Michael Jackson. That was one of them. And what was your category is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was right up your alley.
Right. And a punk rock band. I was Ramones. It was Sex Pistols, and I was thinking Sex Pistols, but I just couldn't come up with it.
Yeah.
The spotlight's on you. The
pressure.
Standing up there on stage, a little more pressure than just sitting around with your buddies. So
yeah.
I just blurted out the Ramones. It was wrong, but all in all, it was a great night. I had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And at some point, we're going to have you not just in the crowd, but up on the stage, because you're on I've got a mental list of who belongs on the panel. And I've been kind of contacting people and saying, are you interested? Everyone says yes. No one has said, I don't want to do that, which is cool. But you have other stuff like obligations. Like UB is playing basketball while we're doing the show next Tuesday. So that takes you out of it. That takes Bob Gahn out of it. That takes Paul Pack out of it. It would take Josh Wetzel out of it. Like there are a lot of people that I'm interested in having as part of the show. But I think I recruited some friends for the first one. I will continue to do that. And sometimes I'll have one guest and sometimes I'll have 3 guests. Tim Graham's going to be back again this week or next week, whatever you want to call it, for week number 2. I'm not going to force this on the other guys. I checked in with Tim a long time ago. I'm like, hey, I'm committed to doing 6 episodes of this. I plan to do it longer. Can you do the 6? And he looked at it and said, I think he can do like 5 of the 6. So there's going to be a lot of Tim Graham on stage, and then I'm working on others. But as it turns out, Contacted a couple other people. The Sabres are also playing on Tuesday night.
Oh,
So,
geez.
it's all right. It's all right. There's competition for people's attention, and I'll be fine. Is there anything going on in the Philadelphia sports world that is worth noting as you are our senior Philly correspondent?
Well, nothing major other than the Eagles trying to find an offensive coordinator. But I will say, watching what's happened to the Bills here, this last week, I can maybe comfort Bills fans as the Eagles went through a similar situation, 10 years ago when Andy Reid was let go after not getting the Eagles over the hump, right? So
Yeah.
Andy Reid, who was the head coach, got to the Eagles to 5 NFC championship games, did get them to 1 Super Bowl that they lost. And time kind of ran out, right? It was just people were just kind of got tired of the same old. And as good as a coach as Andy Reid was, it was time to move on. And it ended up being obviously great for Andy Reid because he went on to be, have a great career in Kansas City. The Eagles make that move. Unfortunately, hired Chip Kelly as their next coach, which was a disaster. Everybody kind of forgets about that 3 years.
I totally forgot about that. And that was because I was thinking, it worked out for them because they fired him and they moved on to Peterson and they won the Super Bowl and everything was fine. But there's a gap there. I forgot about that gap. Yeah.
It was the Chip Kelly era, which was not good.
Okay, hold on. Let me pause you here. I bet people were pretty excited about Chip Kelly, though, right? Like that was a splashy hire where people were pumped, as opposed to this, which feels like a mellow, kind of boring hire, and people are like bored with it, so they're mad because there are no games to watch. They're just going to play in September anyway. It'll still be Bills football. It'll be fine. But as far as the offseason and like winning the press conference, they did that then, and then they had 3 years of crap.
Yeah, they did. So, people were kind of excited because it was an outside-the-box hire. He had never really been in the NFL, was more of a college guy. And he brought that college game to the NFL in the sense that, there was a lot of hurry-up offense. He wanted to get plays under every, 7 to 10 seconds. There was a lot of no huddle. And that was really the first coach to kind of bring that into the NFL. And it did work for the first year. I mean, Michael Vick was the quarterback, and it worked for the first year. He got him to the playoffs. But then after that, it was just a disaster because it just didn't work in the NFL because the season's so long and guys are just breaking down. It just didn't work. So they get rid of Chip Kelly, bring in Doug Peterson, and then obviously that goes great for 2 years. They win a Super Bowl, and then that all goes downhill. And then they get rid of him, and then bring in Nick Sirianni. And, he wins a Super Bowl, which is great. But, I have no idea if he's a good coach either. I mean, I'm not complaining because the Eagles have obviously won 2 Super Bowls in the last 7 years, which is awesome. And they're perennially good. I will say this. I think the difference in all of this and the one constant that's been with the Eagles that I don't know that the Bills have is that the Eagles have always had the players. Howie Roseman is a tremendous general manager. He goes out, he gets guys. The Eagles needed a receiver. He traded their first round pick. There was a draft day trade to get AJ Brown. They said we want AJ Brown. We got him, and he just constantly he makes good deals. And I don't know that Brandon Beane can do that. I mean, he hasn't done it so far, obviously, and that's kind of been that's been, to me at least, from an outsider, that's been the biggest complaint of all Bills fans, is that while yes, Josh Allen is phenomenal, who's he throwing it to? Or the defense maybe hasn't been as good because they haven't had a good linebacker or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just so there's a lot of pressure on Brandon Beane. And I think that's where the big difference is.
Hey, is AJ Brown available?
I think he's going to be available.
It seems like it, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's available every year, it seems like, and then it kind of works. He's under contract. They would have to trade him.
Right.
But obviously,
that's what I mean.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, he is – I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's a phenomenal player. And I think a lot of it – I mean, and he just has his ebbs and flows, and obviously if he got traded to the Bills, he would be rejuvenized and playing with Josh Allen. I think he would obviously be phenomenal in Buffalo. But I don't know if the Eagles are going to do it. But if he makes enough of a stink, like a lot of these players do.
It feels like the Diggs thing. It feels like the Diggs thing
Yeah.
where he was great in Minnesota, but then he got annoying And it was time for him to move. And the Bills got him, and he was great in Buffalo. And then he got annoying, and it was time for him to move. And he's been good for New England. He's playing in the Super Bowl next weekend. It seems like, Brown was great in Tennessee, and then they decided they wanted to move on, and it might be time for a new place for him. And, I don't expect long-term marriage. It's, it's just it's a one-night stand / 3-year stand or something that I'm looking for out of A.J. Brown. But I don't know. Seems like that would be a phone call I would make if I'm Brandon Mean.
Yeah,
we all saw what happened on TV,
Well, right, and that's again, and we'll see. I mean, he obviously, he still had a 1,000-yard season. Everybody thought he had a terrible season this year. But he still had a 1,000-yard season and a bunch of touchdowns. His production was a little bit lower, but and he gets kind of lazy on his routes at times. But the guy's got the strongest hands I've ever seen in football. You throw it to him, he's catching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's big, imposing. He's a true alpha dog, number one receiver that the Bills desperately need. So I would, if I'm the Bills, I'm definitely making that call.
All right, that's cool. Where are you on the Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot thing? Do you care? Does it matter to you? Is it crazy? Here's the thing. If it needed to be unanimous and there was like one guy that prevented it from happening, that'd be one thing. But you needed 40 out of 50 votes. You didn't get 40 out of 50 votes. Why does it seem to be unanimous outside of that voting room that everyone should have said yes, but 20% said no? So I don't know. I'm kind of caught up in all of it.
Well, I will say this. So, I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You think he's one of the best coaches of all time. But I will tie this back to Philadelphia, and I didn't even really think about this until I was reading about it yesterday. One of the reasons he's not getting in is because of Spygate, right? That everybody's accusing him of Spygate. He cheated. He shouldn't be in there. Well, Spygate was all around, the mid-2000s, and one of the seasons that he was accused of doing it and was found planting the cameras and all that was in 2004, and that Super Bowl that year was the year that the Eagles lost to the Patriots. And if you go back and watch that game, it was just, the Eagles played well, but it was like every time the Eagles had a blitz, all of a sudden the Patriots are throwing a screen pass. They were one step ahead of the Eagles the entire game. So obviously they knew they were spying, they were cheating. So if you're not letting him in the Super Bowl because of Spygate, then maybe they shouldn't even have won that Super Bowl, and that should come, not that they're going to retroactively, give the Super Bowl to the Eagles, but it proves that they did cheat for that Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like the league came after him as often as they could, and nothing really stuck. It was annoying to them. I think Patriots fans are still mad that they had to keep, being subjected to discipline, to fines, to people not respecting them and saying they were cheating. And this is like the residual thing from that. I don't think anyone would say he doesn't go in. It's one final chance to kind of poke at, look, we know you got away with stuff, and we let it slide so much that everyone agrees you're the greatest coach in history. But we don't have to put you in today, and we're not doing it right now. Just as one final, don't forget, we know how you did this. You're coming in next year, but we know what you did. And that's kind of what it feels like, and I don't hate it, especially because if you go to the Hall of Fame, there's nothing there that says how many people voted for you and how many years it took you to get in. It's just you're in. So in a world where baseball doesn't have Bonds and doesn't have Pete Rose and doesn't have Shoeless Joe and doesn't have A-Rod and doesn't have Manny Ramirez, in that world, I think I'm okay with, I don't know, voters have some power. It's not nothing to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And to be able to say, you know what? No, not now. Talk to me in a year. It'll be fine. But I don't want to bestow the ultimate honor of, unanimous first ballot, whatever. We don't need to do that. He'll get in, but just not today. And I kind of like it.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And I'm sure as a Bills fan, there's no love lost between Bills fans and Bill Belichick. But yeah, I don't have an issue with it either. And I think I saw a funny tweet the other day that said that, Bill Belichick waited 49 years to meet his girlfriend, what's a couple years to get into the Hall of Fame.
It's pretty good. All right. What else is going on in your world? What are you up to? What have you watched on TV? What movies have you seen? I feel like we haven't hung out in a couple weeks, and I'm not caught up with you.
Yes. What did I see? I just saw. Oh my gosh! I went to the movies and I can't even remember what it was.
John goes to the movies.
I do. I do go to the movies. And I am drawing a blank on even what. My God, why can't I even remember?
Well, I'll say this while you're trying to think of it. I will say that the other day when we had at Brain Vault, the other guy that I knew, Eric Benson, got called up onto the stage, and it was a movie category, and he was like, "Oh boy, this isn't going to be good for me." And Jeremy said, "What's the last movie you saw in the theater?" to him. And I didn't say it into the microphone, but I started thinking about what's the last movie I saw in the theater, and I think it's probably Jackass Forever. Like, I saw that. I saw Top Gun Maverick, and then before that, it was like some Star Wars thing or Lego thing or something with the kids. But I just don't go to the movies.
I think you saw one of the Mission Impossible, I believe.
Oh, yes, I did. I saw the last two
Yes.
Mission Impossible movies.
Correct.
I did see in the theater.
Well, thank you for stalling, because I do remember the last movie.
All right.
We went and saw Marty Supreme.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the quote unquote ping pong movie, but it's, with Timothy Chalamet, who is amazing. He'll win the Oscar. I mean, I thought he was excellent in the movie. He won the Golden Globe. He'll win the Oscar. It's an interesting movie. I don't know if you know the Safdie brothers, but they same guys that did Uncut Gems.
Yes, I love that.
So. Right. And if you like, it has a similar vibe to it, where it has a real dark side to it. But it's an interesting movie where it's about Timothy Chalamet. It's based on a true story. I don't know how true it is, but the character, this Marty, I forget his true last name is.
Supreme.
Yes. Yeah.
Marty Supreme.
Yes. He it's a real person. He was an American table tennis player who was like the best in the United States, and he was traveling around the world and playing, but he's not really a good person. He's like stealing from people, and and it's just kind of like his kind of crazy story. It gets real dark. It's interesting. It's not like if you think you're going to see a movie about ping pong, well, yes, that's a part of it. It goes and takes some real dark turns, but it's a very good movie, and he's excellent in it. There's also, who's very good in this movie that I never thought I'd see acting in a movie before is
Bill Belichick.
Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful.
He's in the movie.
He is in the movie. He plays a prominent role, and he's very good. Now he also plays a rich guy. Shocker.
Okay.
And
that guy would not agree to play anything but a rich guy.
Right. I mean, some of the when he was talking, like some of the parts he was saying, the lines he was saying, it was interesting. It was like I thought I heard him exactly say these same words on Shark Tank, so it wasn't really much of a stretch for him.
Did he finance this movie? Is that like part of it? Have you looked into this? How did Kevin?
I haven't. I didn't even think about that.
How does he wind up in a movie playing a rich guy, saying the things that he always says? I think he has to finance the movie. I'm looking this up. You
and
talk
not
about
only
the movie.
that,
I'm looking this up.
But he plays Gwyneth Paltrow's husband. So now I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah. So did he write the movie?
Exactly. Right. I didn't put two and two together.
What are we talking about here? Okay.
So he is in the movie. Another very small cameo in the movie, and that's why I like these Safdie brothers, because they tend to take chances and do crazy things. Do you remember the guy? This is probably 10, 15 years ago. Remember the homeless guy? I think he was in Columbus, Ohio. Had like the golden voice.
He has a name that's the same as somebody else.
As a famous baseball player, Ted Williams.
Ted Williams. There you go. Yeah. Yes, I remember this guy.
He has a couple lines in this. He's in the movie, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, I think it's him. And to the point where I had to stick around to the credits, and sure enough, it was Ted Williams, and he's in the movie. And I didn't think about that guy since, he had that little, 15 minutes of fame 10 years ago. He has a small part of the movie, so it's
weird.
I think you'd like it.
I like it already.
Yeah, but it's just, it isn't what I thought it would be. And when you watch the preview, it's all ping pong, and then you watch the movie and you're like, whoa, it gets real dark. So yeah, but I recommend it. Timothy Chalamet is excellent in the movie. So I saw that.
I'm looking
I
forward
saw.
to finding out who Timothy Chalamet is. Like, if he walked into my house right now, I'm not positive I would know him. But I've heard his name said repeatedly. Everyone loves him. Everyone thinks he's incredible and beautiful. And that is like
Yes.
universal, like, opinion poll. He is thumbs up across the board, and I don't know who he is. So I don't watch the things he's in. I don't know what he's been in. He was Bob Dylan, right? Did he do that Bob Dylan
Yes,
movie?
he did that.
Okay, I haven't seen
And
that.
then, and then before that, it was like, and I haven't really seen him in a lot of movies either, because he's done like those Dune movies. He did like
yeah, I'm never gonna
like
see that.
Willy Wonka, either like
No
one
way.
of those like Charlie and the I don't know, which I had no interest in. So I haven't seen him in a ton of stuff. You know what? He had a role in Don't Look Up, that movie with DiCaprio.
I love that.
Yeah, he was kind of like that Gen Xer, like he was kind of like that stoner dude, if you remember.
I don't.
Yeah, if you go back, it wasn't a huge role, but
all right. So
he
that's
was
not.
in
I
it.
have seen him then, because I've seen that
Yes.
multiple times. I don't remember him in particular, but like I said, I don't even know what he looks like. I'm looking at him right now. He doesn't look like anybody I've ever seen before. So I don't. I just keep hearing the name. I'll see that movie. I will definitely. That's still
Yeah,
in
I think
theaters
you would
though.
like
I can't
it.
watch it at home yet.
It might be. It could be streaming, and we saw it maybe a month ago,
Huh.
3 weeks ago.
All
So it could be out on something already. But that was the last movie we saw in the theater. It was good. It was it was good.
How
So
far are we from the Oscars? When does that happen?
that is, I think, the end of. It's usually like beginning of end of February, early March, about a month or so away. All the nominations are out.
All right, and they try to
Um,
put they try to stream them. That last month leading up to the Oscars, there seems to be a tendency to let people see these movies at home before the show happens. So I will
Yes.
definitely see it before that, because right now I've seen two of the movies that are nominated, and I liked both of them. One more than the other. You and I have talked already about One
Yes.
Battle After Another. I love it.
Yep.
I had a. Did you hear my conversation with Nick Bakay by any chance?
I have. No,
Okay.
I did not see. But I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I intended to air that again today because I recorded with him last Thursday, and then it was supposed to be a part. It was a part of Friday's show, which was great. It was a 3-hour, awesome 250th episode. Except I never hit go live, so like I just did a show by myself for no one for 3 hours on Friday, and found out as I was going to get a haircut that it didn't air. So I aired it on Saturday, but I don't feel like people knew to tune in. And it's sitting online. It's on YouTube, but it's such a good conversation. He hates One Battle After Another, and we were, I won't say arguing, but we had like a lengthy conversation about movies. He doesn't like the nominees. He did like Sinners a little bit. He forgot about it, but he was talking about of the 10 movies, he only likes one of them. I was like, wait, you don't like Sinners either? And he's like, oh yeah, that was good too. But it's an awesome conversation. Nick is so cool, and
I'll definitely go back and.
yeah, I'm gonna put it in like as a part of the show one of these days. Things keep coming
Well-
up. Bills are firing coaches and hiring coaches and stuff keeps happening.
Right. Well, getting back to One Battle After Another was great because my wife, I talked her into watching it the other night. I had to talk her into it, but we were looking for a movie to watch. I'm like, she was interested in it because she saw it won all these awards. So I finally was able to sit down and watch it again, and it's such a better watch the second time because there's so much more that I didn't really see the first time.
Well, yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where the second that it ends, like, oh, I got to start over now that I get it. I want to go back and see all of it again and see what they meant. But yeah, that one absolutely rewards you for viewing it a second time.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Did your wife like it?
She did.
Nice.
Yeah, she did like it. Yes.
I don't think my wife would like it. We don't watch anything together. We watch the Bills. Aside from that, like she watches girl stuff,
Grey's
and I watch
Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy and Hallmark-y things. It's like it's the algorithm, and I don't feel like the algorithm has gotten me yet, but I think it has gotten her. Like I don't know that she knows she can search beyond what's being recommended to her. And I'm not calling her dumb. It's like, well, this is what's on Netflix. And everything has Katherine Heigl in it. Like she just thinks Katherine Heigl's in every movie, or Patrick Dempsey, or somebody. It's like, oh, you like Grey's Anatomy? Here are all the people that have ever been on it in rom-coms, and that's what she watches. And I can't sit through that stuff because I'm just gonna make fun of it or talk over it or whatever. And I don't want her talking through my good stuff. So we don't watch stuff together at all.
Yeah, we definitely have the same. I mean, Dawn's a big Hallmark movie. I mean, gosh, around Christmas she's watching every single one of those, and I have no interest in any of those because I feel like if you watch one, you've seen them all. It's
You
just
would like
different
them if you
settings.
watched them with me and Scott Wilson when we're on the road for UB.
Yeah, well, right. Well, yeah, I'm sure with the commentary, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's more
more
fun.
to it. Yes, but I can't sit there and watch those. So, but whatever, that's her thing, and it's great. I mean, she likes those. Yeah, for her, it's more like I don't know. She wants like feel good, just feel good movie kind
Right.
of things, happy endings, and all that
Right.
stuff. And
I want death.
right, yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need crime. Did you watch the thing, the Damon Affleck thing on Netflix yet? The Rip.
No, but I heard you talking about it. I would
You should
definitely
watch it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it again real soon. That could be tonight. I try to watch a movie every night. It doesn't always work out, but I've been trying to do that. I don't really watch a lot of TV shows, so it's like a 2-hour commitment. Like, all right, this is what I'm doing today, and like it is reasonable to watch a movie every single day. And I try. It ends up being like 4 a week. I go for 7, but it ends up being 4.
Yeah. One last thing for what I'm watching.
Yeah.
I don't know that you watched this show yet, but Shrinking on Apple TV.
No, you're the 14th person to say
yesterday.
something about it, though. So
And
I
the new
probably
season
should.
started yesterday. I think you would. It's really really good. And you're the one that always tells me to watch Scrubs, and it's this Scrubs guy. It's that's he writes. It's him that
Bill
does the show.
Bill something.
Yes, and his wife, who was on Scrubs, is in the show. His wife in real life, I can't remember her name either. I'm doing a terrible job.
What does she look like?
But
the blonde?
She was
Sarah Chalk.
Yeah. What's the name?
Sarah Chalk.
No. She was. Oh God, I think she was on Scrubs. I've never seen Scrubs, and I know I should. But I'm pretty sure she was on there, and she is married to the guy that created Scrubs and now created this show.
Bill Lawrence is the name.
Yeah, Bill. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Krista Miller, who was on Drew Carey show.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. But yeah, maybe she was on Scrubs.
She was. She was also on Scrubs. No, you're right about that. But
yes.
Okay.
Carey, yes.
Oh, I like her.
But Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. I mean, it's really good. It's really well done. If people haven't watched it, I highly recommend it.
It's a TV show with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Has he ever done TV before? That sounds crazy to me. All right, I'm in.
Right.
I'm in.
Yeah. No, it's the way it's very well done.
All right, that's gonna screw up my watch a movie every night plan. If you hook me, how many seasons of this show?
This is only 2. This is season 3. I think. Yeah, season 3 just started. So I think 2. So 20 episodes, 21 episodes. Maybe.
Half-hour show or hour show?
Half hour, maybe some are 45 minutes, but yeah, not an hour.
Large commitment, but you're telling me I should do it. All right, I'll do it. I trust you. There are a few people that I trust, like across the board, on their movie and music taste, and you are on the very, very short list, John. So you tell me to watch it, I watch it. That's what I do.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I keep you around, man.
All right.
Thanks for being a guest. Thanks for reporting on everything going on in Philadelphia, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, and for those that's listening that weren't at last week's Brain Vault, go. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it's keep it up. I think it's really going places.
Hey, well, I've got you. Do you have any suggestions? Like a couple of them, obviously solve the technical problem so we don't have any downtime, and I'm on that. The shortening the time from 30 seconds to 20 seconds on the multiple choice questions, I think, is right. Would you agree 30 to 20, not 30 to 15?
Yes, because people are trying to answer those as quick as possible. So 15 will be fine too. I mean,
you're in a hurry.
My finger is hovering over the button as soon as the question comes up. So I think most people are too. So I think even 15 seconds would be fine.
Okay.
The only other suggestion I would have is only because I think you got the idea of this from watching Kill Tony, just like the look of it. But I think if you get people up on the stage, my favorite thing of listening and watching Kill Tony is when he talks to the
interview after the thing.
Interview. And I'm not saying it has to be a bunch of things, but maybe get to know the person on the stage.
That is the intention. It didn't. Everything that I had planned didn't happen because it was all just happening so fast. But that is a part of it. Is bringing. It's supposed to be interactive. And there are supposed to be more than 4 people. Only 4 people made it up to the stage because of various things that happened. I was overloaded with the trivia part, and I wanted to be more show. So that will evolve. So I agree with you, and that is the plan. I also think that having 4 of us at the table might have been too many people. The plan is me plus 1, and maybe 2, and maybe sometimes a third guest with me. There was just there was a lot going on. I mean, everybody was great. Everybody did well and just kind of played along. And I told everybody, we're not preparing anything. I'm going to prepare. You prepare nothing. Just show up and crack wise. Have fun. And that's what those guys did. So, yes, I do agree that getting more out of the people who come on stage would be fun.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, John.
Great. All right, see you, Brad.
All right. There goes John Fuller. Say goodbye. Goodbye, John Fuller. We'll talk to you soon. Timeout. Be right back. I'm Brad. It's Riter Radio. It's episode 254. And today is January 29th, 2026. Stay tuned. I have this listed as jazzy bed. It feels more like it should be seductive bed. I feel like I'm trying to seduce you every time I hear this. I'm not. I'm just doing a show. Just trying to. I'm here for entertainment purposes only. Just hanging out. Bret Michaels talks Niagara Falls Show fans charity Steelers. All right, I'll click on that. Channel 4. I was actually reading a story about a kid with a gun stored in his bedroom that they found. It busted him. Let's see. I've had a Bret Michaels concert at Fallsview Casino on February 6th. He spoke with Buffalo Jukebox host Adam Duke about the show, his hometown Pittsburgh Steelers, connecting with fans at shows, his charity work, and more. I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. 12 minutes of conversation with Bret Michaels. If Bret Michaels is coming to town and doing interviews with people, I would like to talk to Bret Michaels. I need to turn this speaker down. I'm hearing like something. Kind of feedback or something was just happening, like a little echoey thing. All right, Bret Michaels, that's the lead singer of Poison. People probably aren't very interested in him. I am. Unrelenting cold grips Buffalo Niagara into weekend. Hey, we made it. Well, tomorrow's Friday, and I was at a school event last night. So it was a concert. It was 2 concerts, actually. There was a 5th and 6th grade chorus concert at 6. And then there was a 7th and 8th grade chorus concert at 7:30. The one at 6 took like 25 minutes. They sang 4 songs or 5 songs, then it was over. And I live less than a mile, probably less than half a mile from the school. But the weather was so terrible that it made no sense to leave. I could have just gone home for 45 minutes and come back. And I say I mean we. It was me and the kids and my parents. And my wife eventually was there because my other son had a basketball game at 5, but there was a concert we had to be at 5:30, so I didn't go to the basketball game. It might be the first basketball thing I've missed. I go to all the basketball stuff. But somebody had to go to the kids' concert, right? I mean, in reality, 10 times out of 10, I'm choosing basketball over chorus. But you can't just drop off your kid and be like, go sing to nobody. I'm going to watch a basketball game. Enjoy your... That's bad parenting. So we had to split up, and I went and watched it. It was fine. You know, it's a chorus concert. Band concerts are really... I like those a lot. And I don't mind the chorus being added to a band concert, like when they do like orchestra, band, chorus. That's what we used to do when I was a kid. It was one concert. There was the orchestra. I wasn't in that. Then it was the band. I was in that. And it was the chorus I wasn't in. But it would be the 3. You'd see all the kids. Now, I don't know how you do that from a, dealing with the capacity of the auditorium. Because just 5th and 6th grade chorus, it was standing room only. My youngest son sat on a floor. And I sat separate. It was me and my mom and my son that were there. And then my other son was on stage. And we found a seat for my mom because we got there later than we should have. In part because this is good. I made dinner. It's me and 2 kids trying to go to this concert. My wife and other son are gone. We have to be at the school at 5:30. In real life, we could leave at 5:27 and be at the school at 5:30, if not for traffic, everyone else trying to arrive at the same time, and also the weather was terrible. So, had to brush off the car, all that stuff. We finished eating. Everybody was done with dinner at 5:20. I said, we have to leave in 5 minutes, and we would be completely fine. It gets to 5:28, and we're supposed to be there at 5:30, and I know the weather's bad, and I know that other people are doing the same thing, so I wanted to leave. Honestly, 5:25 was later than I wanted to go, but it would have been fine. 5:28, I'm like, Nate, are you coming? He's like, yeah, I'll be down in a few minutes. I'm like, you're supposed to be there in a few minutes. And he says, I can't find a tie. If I hadn't yelled up the stairs to ask what was going on, I continue to wonder, would he still be up there looking for a tie without saying, I need a tie? I ended up finding a tie of my own and giving it to him, and I had to tie it for him because he's 11 and doesn't know how to do that. So I had to do the thing where I'd stand behind him because I'm not good enough at it. I got to pretend it's me, but out in front, and I put it on, and the back part of it that just hangs behind the part that shows was like that long, and he's like this tall. So we had to just tuck that in the shirt, and we got the whole thing done. But I think he would still be upstairs looking for a tie. Didn't want to ask for help, I guess. I told him he had to comb his hair because he doesn't like to do that. And then he did it, and it was terrible. So I had to do that too. He's 11. Shouldn't he be able to comb his own hair? I get not tying a tie. It happens twice a year that he's got to wear one. But I would appreciate if, when it's time to leave, my son would say, I can't leave because I can't find a tie, without me going, where the hell are you? Like, why aren't you down here? So we went there, and then I had to drop him off at the front door because he's already 10 minutes late. And then I had to, you got to go through this, loop at the school. So I'm stuck in this loop of everybody else doing the same thing. And then I've got to find a parking spot. And I know there's not one in the lot that's connected to the school. I know it's got to be jammed because people are already parking illegally. But there's another lot right next to the school that you can go out to the road and loop around and go into that. But then you've got to walk the entirety of the school to get into the building to go to the concert. And with all of that in mind, because they don't leave the side door open. If the side door was open, you're all set. We were great for leaving. We were able to walk indoors, walk out the door, and there's my truck. That was perfect. But you couldn't go in there. So we're already running late, in a hurry, trying to get seats, knowing this thing is going to be packed. And I pull in, I park. It's me and Drew, my little guy, the 9-year-old. We're about to walk in, and then the person who pulls in next to me is my mom. So I can't, and it's windy, and it's terrible, and I don't have on a heavy coat. I'm just, I figured I'll be outside for 30 seconds. Who cares? I had a coat, but not, just like a regular. I was not equipped for this weather. And then my mom pulls in, and she, gets out of the car, and we start walking. You got to walk. We're on the side of the school. You got to walk all the way to the front, then make a left, and then walk like the length of the school to get to the front door. We're almost to the part where we turn and go to the school, and my mom's like, oh, I forgot to lock my car. So she turns around and walks back, and then we just stand there and we wait. And, she wasn't like super slow, but it was cold. We're in a hurry. If we had been there 30 seconds earlier, I wouldn't have seen her. But you can't just leave your mom, right? So we waited for her, and then we eventually make our way in, and it's a mob scene, and we found a seat for her. She's like, no, I'll be fine. I'm like, no, you will not. You will sit down. We'll be fine. And then eventually we found one more seat for me. My kid, actually, we found a seat for him, and then he said, I'll just sit on the floor. He had a tablet with him anyway. He's not paying attention. He hates that stuff. So it worked out fine. But the concert ends at like 6:27, let's say. And the next one doesn't start till 7:30. I live a minute from the place. We could go home for 40 minutes and come back. But thinking about the walk in, thinking about the fight for seats, thinking about it. We just sat there in a school auditorium for an hour doing nothing, waiting for another, 4-song concert. That one ended up being like seven songs. That one was a little longer. That one was like a 40-minute show. It was fine. They were both fine. But it was just no man's land. The choice is go deal with the weather, to go home, to turn around, to come back, to fight for a parking spot again, to fight for a seat again, or just hang out and do literally nothing in a school auditorium for an hour waiting for a show. It happened. All right. Next. Nothing. I got nothing left on the screen. I'm going to end the show. What time is it? 12:04. All right. We can do it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of it. Sorry I didn't play the Nick Bakay thing. I can do that right now. Or you can just find it online, or I'll save it. It's really good. It's a really good conversation. It's long. I'm not going to play it because then I can't edit the show. So I'm going to stop, edit the show. It'll be available online at YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts. That'll do it for today. Thanks to John Fuller, our senior Philly correspondent, for joining me. Thanks to you for listening. Go to thecazbuffalo.com and buy tickets for Brain Vault, episode number 2. Do you call it an episode when it's not like online? I don't know. It's the second one. And it'll be Tuesday, and it'll be way better than the first one. Although that panel is tough to replicate. We had Tim Graham. He'll be back. We had Greg Bauk. We had Jeremy White. They were all awesome. Really good time. But the show itself, like the structure of it, is going to be sped up. Pacing. I'm working on pacing. Working on technical stuff. It's going to be great. I look forward to it. You should too. You should come. All right. That'll do it for today's show. I'm finished. We're going to play. Where's my thing? I got to find my thing. Where's my thing? All right. Bye.
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?